new faces join us. So
We're live.
We're live. All right. So it was actually Stephen Akery that on Family Reunion said, Tina, we need a class on how to hire an admin. And I think you did very well without my guidance or my help, but he did ask me to do the class. I said, okay, Stephen, you asked me to do it. I'm going to do it. Everyone thinks that Rachel is the holy grail of all admins, and I absolutely agree with that. But Rachel didn't just happen. Like, we had to go out and find talent, and we're going to talk a little bit about how we found talent. And then we have the very sad news that Ashley is been with us for 6 years. She was with Teresa and I when we were together, and then she's been doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We watched her get married, have babies, but after 6 years, she's going to take a little sabbatical, and then I'm not sure what she's going to do. So we're back in the hiring business, and we are actually interviewing tomorrow to find Rachel's sidekick. So the class is going to talk about how we go through that process. I am going to talk a little bit about what I have learned in the classes that I've taken, and especially in a class called Recruit Select. It's a 2-day class. I've taken it twice now, and it's usually offered in Richmond or Northern Virginia. I highly recommend that for, you're getting the Cliff Notes version. And since we're all ADD, the Cliff Notes version sometimes is all we want, but the reality is it would be a great class. And I have asked Carol when it's going to be offered in the region next, and to make sure we know, I'll probably go a 3rd time. Why would anyone go 3 times to the same class?
You can't pick it up all at once.
And you're in different stages, and you've done it once, and now you're getting ready to do it again, and you're always looking for talent, and just you absorb different things every time you go. But mostly repetition equals mastery. So, the people on the really big teams that are really doing great things, they do these bolds 10 times. They do, this career visioning multiple times. So I probably we're going to do it every other year for a long time. So I may ask Rachel to go with me. So we'll see. But anyways, so let's kind of start the process. First thing is you need to, when you're doing a team and assuming that your first hire is your admin, you need to understand what your jobs are and then what your admin's jobs are. So my jobs are team lead, rainmaker, prospecting, running the team, coaching whoever, whether that's an admin, buyer's agent, as your team grows. My job is to do that coaching. And I think that's the job that I haven't done the best at. So I'm still kind of really figuring how to do that. And then financials, being responsible for the money, knowing what percentage is going to overhead. If you are bringing on someone, you are now responsible for their salary. So you need to know what your overhead is. You need to make sure that you are financially sound to not only pay them in spring market, but they want to get paid in the winter too. So that's my job. Rachel's job. Contract to close. She has a marketing degree. How do we say you do? Graphic design. So that was just an added bonus. One of the things that really impressed us, we had 2 people when we were ready to hire Rachel, and the other girl knew the MLS. She'd already been, working in the field, where Rachel had been a librarian right across the way. Did everyone know that Rachel's past life was librarian? She came back with a little marketing piece, and that spoke a lot to both of us, that after she did the interview that she walked back in the next day with that little marketing piece. So admin to Tina Fryer and everything Tina does not want to do. And that's pretty true. So Ashley, this is kind of, so admin, your first hire is level 1. And then second hire is second assistant. which most of us want to go to buyer's agent, but that is not what the MREA tells us. So Ashley is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. She does listings, showing feedback when she wants to do it, and Tina fusses at her. Selection sheets, since we do a lot of new construction, she helps keep that coordination with the builders and with the clients and making sure everybody's getting the right thing to the right house. And she does my farming and marketing postcards. I don't know why, it's random and someone had to do it and kind of ended up in her lap. So that's what Ashley's doing. Alrighty. Millionaire real estate agent. This is the model, guys. This is what I'm going by. This is what I'm going to teach, and this is what I'm rereading again for the second time. Nicole Belcher in Roanoke is actually doing a book club, and I'm doing it with her. And I'm just a student in her class, and I'm doing it again the second time for mastery. And I plan to follow that as closely as I possibly can.
I've read the first half like 5 times.
I've read the first half 1 time, and now I'm going to read the whole
I
I got to the part that I needed, and I stopped. And that's honest truth, and I am going to read it. Now that I'm finishing up my other book on leadership, I'm going back and going to read this from start to finish. All right. Who in the room has read Millionaire Real Estate Agent? Okay, I've only read half, and I'm owner of 2 franchises, so that's shame on me. So this is the page I got to, and I earmarked, and I kind of stopped. So your first admin hire is between 24 and 36 transactions a year. 24 if you are a young mom or you just need more personal time. 36 if you want to kind of keep the money, so it's really up to you. But the model says you can support a full-time admin sometime between 24 and 36 transactions. So first level is you are sales and marketing, you are administration and processing. This is out of the MREA. Second is the first assistant. That's what we're talking about today. The third level is you, and then marketing administration and transaction coordinator. And then fourth is a lead buyer agent and you, and then the marketing administrator and transaction coordinator. This is kind of where I am in the 4th level, and I'm at about 20 million in production. And then from there, you're adding buyer agents, lead agents, and some lead listing specialists. I'm trying to do most of the listings myself, and then, mostly for me, it's buyer's agents and showing assistant. Ben Fryer is my showing assistant. And then you, CEO, and this is where, Rachel and I are actually having a conversation about CEOs. She went to family reunion with me last time. Once you get past this level, you start, getting into a really big book of business and a lot more folks. And so you actually, at the 9th or the 7th level, you are the owner, you have a CEO, they're kind of managing the team, and you should be at $1 million in gross commissions. Yeah. So my disc. This are fun. It's so fun now because now I just meet people. I'll meet a builder and I'm like, he's a high CS. He's a high D. Oh, she's ridiculous on the I. Like I don't even need to test you. I just meet you now and I'm like, my I is a little bit lower. I don't need to. I enjoy conversation. I'm not afraid to get up in front of folks, but at the end of the day, I'll feel kind of tired. It'll actually kind of drain me, and I need to go to my 30 acres in the farm and just be quiet and be still for a while. My S and C, I don't actually think I am a true salesperson by birth and nature. I think my husband was a builder. I got this job. I was just trying to be my husband's helper. It seemed to make sense. And life has evolved and the path has evolved. But I think because I was an accountant by nature, that makes my S&C, they would be kind of high. So I tend to like people that are organized, and I tend to get sales really by follow-up and organization and being by such a great salesperson. I think I've gotten so comfortable with it now. I'm a decent salesperson, but I don't know that that is really what God designed me as. So, that's my personal opinion. Do you all know your discs? Don't know your discs? Do?
Oh, it's so fun doing.
Yeah, no, we have to do it. What you need to know about
Yeah.
yourself,
How you're
it
wired.
really is
Absolutely.
helpful. And it also tells you that first hire, to make sure that they're
Right.
that they're complimenting you. What is your disc?
I don't really.
I asked him, I said, before you hired, did you disc? And he has not dished you?
No.
Oh my gosh, I'm texting him.
He's been very lucky then.
Yeah, he has been very lucky. And he said that. He's like, I know I didn't do everything right. Yeah, I'll be shocked. So we want to do it. So we're in the interview process, and everybody, I mean, it went out with the information about the job, a link. It's free. You want to do that. If you all come to my class and do not disc your first admin, I'll feel like I failed you. Okay? That's the big takeaway. Gotta disc. Alrighty. I sort of don't want that. Why? So this is in fact when we
Rachel,
looked at
will
the
you
two-
marry me?
I know. I said, Rachel, I know that you probably dated people that said you need therapy, but you are like, you are the person that I want, right on the borderline of having to go to therapy. That's what I want you to do it. I want you to do it every time. I want it to be super organized. So, Dee probably says, that, she's not got as much confidence just to go out and, the fact that she's here today. Right. And I too, she's kind of like me. She's going to be a little drained at the end of the day. She has to make sure that her battery stays charged. And we've actually had this conversation that both of us work from home on Tuesday so that we both can just kind of move at a different pace and not have 1,000 people. And it's just something when we hired, we didn't know that was going to be a solution, but we kind of came up with that as a time to get big projects done, and a time just so it's worked so far. You want to say anything else about your disc and who you are? And
I would just say that, when you do find that person that naturally has those gifts, the system sort of follow. Tina didn't tell me here's how to do the job. I just created the systems because that's part of my personality and how I approach problem solving. And systems, how do we do this so we can repeat it over and over and have it, come out with the same results each time that work for everyone.
Right. And if you are home, does it give you pleasure to organize? And is that a day that charges you, recharges you?
Yes.
Right. So, and it's a little bit that way for me too. So in the interview, you can kind of figure that out too by asking the right questions. But here's the thing though. There are times where I'm like, Rachel, you have to pick up the phone and talk to those people. You cannot email them. Pick up the phone. So one of the things we do go back and forth with is like sometimes you have to talk to the people, like they need that. So we've had those discussions. Also with SMC, sometimes we'd rather organize than do, and I'm that way actually. It gives me pleasure, so I'd actually rather go organize that than actually prospect sometimes. And I have to say, 9 to 11 is my prospect time. I will be on the phone for 2 hours. And if I don't sit down on my butt at 9:00, if I don't get there till 9:08, then I make myself go late past 11 o'clock because I will do 2 hours. And I really, really try to have my seat. And if you ask my husband or my son, they get yelled at. I'm like, get out of here. I'm at 9 o'clock. I'm on the job. And if they call me, I'm like, You know it. You know the deal. You know, like don't be calling me between this time. So, anyways, yeah. Ideal disc. Did anyone know this existed? Yeah, you want to know this. And honestly, I just did 2 buyer specialists, and I don't know that I really paid attention to what the disc says. What does the disc say on lead buyer? What's the I? What's the first thing? I. I is going to be your number one thing. Why? So people, if they're like, us, we're going to be exhausted as buyer specialists because if we talk that much, oh gosh, I got to go. So yeah, knowing what, let's see, SC, what was Rachel's? SC, right. And truly, when we saw her disc, we were like, okay, we're paying attention now. We're getting all these, so we don't know who's going to be our best candidate. When we saw that, and when we were really down to the final 2, that way hers was a little bit higher. Showing assistant. Yeah. That's interesting too about lead. So that's your ideal disc. That is something you want to be aware of. All right, how do you hire? What is step 1? Your step 1 is to start with your database, and in the subject line, you're going to write thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's going to say, and we just did this, because of your referrals and business, I have had the good fortune to grow my business. I'm going to send this to everybody that comes to the class, so you will all have my PowerPoint. I am in need of an administrative assistant to help me deliver 5-star service to my wonderful clients. I want to reach out to you first to see if you might have recommendations for me. Feel free to pass this information on to anyone that might be interested in this position. Please note that they may already have a job, but would consider this position. Again, thank you for the continued business. What does this tell people? What does this tell you?
You're growing.
Huh?
You're growing.
You're being successful. It also says to people that, you're doing good and you're thanking them. The thank you, thank you, thank you. Everyone likes to be thanked. They're going to open it because they want to see what you're thanking them for. I've already had someone tell me that they've sent this on. I've had 2 people tell me that they've sent this on for my database. And Crystal was a recommendation from Alice Smith. My Dofi from Roanoke sold birthday parties for someone else and had a job, and she's like, oh, she would be great, and she's been fantastic. So your sphere of people that you know is just a great way to start, and I think they're going to give you some really great leads. All righty, then we have done Craigslist. That cost about $14. Indeed, you can buy different packages, but the basic is free. LinkedIn is $55, and you can go up from there. And if we can ever figure out how to get to the Liberty website, we'd like to post on the Liberty website. But we can't figure it out.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. It's really ridiculous that we're in a college town, and we might want to keep people here. But yeah. If anyone has any wisdom on that, yeah.
Have you tried contacting them?
We have. We've submitted the form.
Had to find phone numbers.
Yeah. Because Ashley was a friend of my daughter's, and that's, again, basic your sphere is what I'm saying. When I say database, I'm really saying sphere, people you know. And she did an internship, and that's how Ashley came into my world, my work world. And Rachel answered off of Craigslist, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ashley, what was your directive when I asked you to find the next person?
Make sure they're better than you. That it's okay that they're better than you.
What did you
And
tell
I
me?
did it.
Yeah, I know. She told me last week, she said, and I did do it. And we all were like, you know what? So don't be someone that's smarter, better, like that's a good thing. And I know Rachel's like, and we're all like, Ashley's leaving. Oh my gosh, it's just like, we don't want to do it anymore. You know, like she's part of the team, you know, you can't go away. But, you know, I keep saying to Rachel, I'm like, if you hire someone as good as you are and that person is also full-time, I was like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be good. But, you know, we have to get there. And, you know, I'm now giving her the same directive that we have to find someone better than Rachel. We don't think it exists. That's our direction. Copy of the ad, the disc, we did it right so that whoever read it also said, had directions, and they went directly to the disc. We want the disc. We're not even gonna talk to you until we look at the disc. Did they complete it? So here's this thing. If you're hiring an admin and they don't read the whole thing and they don't click on the disc and they don't do the disc, do you want to hire them? Probably not. Strike one, you're out.
Hey, does the disc cost money to?
Not through this
Excellent.
market center.
Okay.
Now, are you part of Keller Williams? You are, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me your name.
True call.
Drew? Okay. Sorry, Drew. I should know that, but I don't know everybody. And yeah, it's all free here. And you should look at yours too.
Yeah.
You've got yours?
Yeah, I'm familiar with mine.
Okay. What are you?
I'm similar to yours, high in D and C. I kind of lack influential,
Okay.
but
So you're going to have to make yourself talk. You're not going to, you know, like you're going to have to be, during your prospecting time, you're going to have to be like, I have to talk. You know, it's not my natural style, but I'm going to do this for 2 hours of every day. That's something that, and definitely, you know, you might want to even think about that. If you hire your first admin, you may want to have someone that has a little more eye than you do. And that would be kind of go against the admin, but just because you know yours is maybe a little lower, maybe
yeah, we got to find someone to compensate for our weaknesses.
Well, exactly.
Where can we locate that?
So, how do we get that?
I'll send it out as normal.
Okay. So, yeah, Crystal and Carol all have access to that.
It's in my
You can
KW.
Google it. You can even Google it.
I have, but I've seen.
We'll send you it. We'll send you this whole slide show, and we'll send you that. Happy to do that. So letting people know where they are in the process, that you even receive their stuff, it's just nice, you know, like you can remember those days when you were out looking for a job. And I think it also sets an impression about, you know, how you respond to them. So they just acknowledge that you got it. And then maybe give them a little brief outline of the process. You know, I'm going to be reviewing for the next 3 weeks. I'll be interviewing on this week and, you know, the top 8 candidates. So they kind of review applicants and interview the initial 5 to 10 best candidates. Some people hire out of pain. They're in, you know, they're going crazy. They need help. You just need to hire the first living human being that you meet that might meet the criteria. Pray, cross your fingers, and dive in. I cannot tell you how much you should not do that because you will regret it for 6 months. If you just hit the jackpot, that's great. But if you don't go through the steps and you may pay for that for the next 6 months. First, you'll train them, and they'll start handing you jobs back. And then 6 months down the road, you'll part ways, and you'll actually be financially worse off because they will absorb time. So, your best 5 to 10 candidates, you really do want to sit down with 10 people. Take the top 5, and again, the KPA is a deeper than the DISC. So you actually, and the KPA will give you questions too to go back. So our hope, we don't really know. We're going to interview about 10 people tomorrow. We're going to take our top, we're going to have them do the KPA. Now, this was not in Recruit Select. I was interviewing 3 top agents in an Atlanta market center called Peachtree. In Peachtree, 60% of the agents in their MLS belong to Keller Williams. And Keller Williams sells 60% of the homes in Peachtree. Does anyone know how much we sell in Lynchburg? 10 to 11. Yeah. We're number 1, and that's awesome. But Peachtree is killing it. So I asked their top 3 agents how they went through this recruit select process and how they did. So this lady she did between 10 and 20 million. And she had 1 admin, and she said she made her take the KPA in a busy room where there were lots of people. She wanted to see how she did with lots of distractions, and she kind of would go in and out of the room and watch her. She was just working on her test. She seemed to be able to ignore the world and not have to smile at everybody. She was taking the test. She had the ability to concentrate. Was one of the things. Then she pulled up a dot loop and said, here's the MLS, here's some information. Do the best you can, fill out that contract. Just see how she did. Did it fluster her? Did she have lots of questions? Could she get through, And then the third thing she did is she wrote him an email, and we should do this after this 10 with our top 5. She wrote an email. She wanted her to write an email back to see if she could spell, to see if she could compose an email and how she sounded when she wrote back. One of the things I thought to do was just to say, here's a true lead that I got. How would you respond to that? And just see how naturally she would respond to that email. You just want to get a feel for, who they are and how they respond to things. So she came up with that on her own. I thought all 3 of them were smart. And I was like, dang. Have them respond to an email, potentially fill in a contract and a voicemail. You can come up with your own little ideas, but so one of the things I did really learn when I took the class is you stay neutral. What happens is we're naturally salespeople, so we are always doing this and agreeing, and our body language is always open, and we're selling, So when you go in the interview, you're much more neutral. I was listening to a Saturday Night Live. Someone that was applying to be one of the lead actors in Saturday Night Live, and they said everybody that was interviewing them was told not to laugh. And they were like, man, that was really hard because I'm doing all these jokes and nobody's laughing. And so the guy that was talking was like, I said, forget that. He's like, that was funny and I'm laughing. So he was laughing, but everyone else was stone-faced. And it made me think of how we're taught that you really aren't trying to be their best friend. You're really not trying to make those great connections. Hopefully that will come, but you're really trying to be neutral, and you're just trying to pull out who they are, and not be buddy. So you need to be honest. You need to explain the good and bad of Tina Fryer. You need to say the good and bad of Drew. Hey, I'm not a big talker. I'm not gonna. You need to say who you are and what is the good and bad of the job.
Did Stephen Aker do that?
Tell me what was good and bad about it.
Yeah, he did.
Well, I know Steve.
Right. But you need to know, I am always getting names mixed up. I am always getting properties mixed up. I am and so they're always trying to piece it together. What did she really mean? I think she meant this one. I'm pretty sure that's what so you're translating in that, and then we call it the vomit. I will walk in and I'll be on the way to another appointment, and I'll try and transfer 10 thoughts in a very unorganized fashion, and I'll be like, got around, and there you go, and I'll see you. I'll be gone for the next 3 hours. So, and just the stresses of the job. I mean, we've all had those clients that yell at us, or just blame us, or they're just under stress. They're moving, and it's stressful for them. So, the good and the bad. We need to tell them how it really is, because you don't want them to get in and then 2 weeks later, peace out. That's horrible. So, references. We all put those at the bottom, and then we think we found the perfect person, and we love them, and they disc grade, and they're going to be awesome, and we're so excited because we've gone through all that work, and now we're there, and we have it. And so, do we really need to check references? Can't we just forget that part? That's what I want to do. Tina Fryer wants to be like, I don't want to have to do that. They teach us 3 levels deep. How do you do 3 levels deep? Hi, this is Tina Fryer. So-and-so has put you as one of their references. You talk to them a little bit, and then you just ask them questions about the job and just whatever you think is appropriate. But then you ask them, who else worked with that person on your job that might also be able to give you. So they say 3 levels deep, and Rachel's co-candidate had MLS experience. I mean, there was a whole lot to be said to be good. She said one thing in the interview that raised the red flag. So when you're interviewing, and we just did it together yesterday, and there was one red flag that came up when we got it done. We're like, that's a red flag. Doesn't mean we just need to dive deeper on that. So we wrote a note that if this person comes back, we're going to dive deeper on that. So what she told me is there were 2 admins. The market tanked. One admin stayed, one admin left. Now, would you let your best admin go if times were tight? I don't care. If you're my best person and the other person maybe had longer, I'd probably still keep the best. I mean, I just would. So that was the red flag. I called, this wasn't a reference, I called the realtor. And there was something pretty bad there. It involved jail time. So I was like, okay, well, I'm glad we've had that conversation. Rachel, you got the job. So another time,
I'm sure Rachel didn't set it up.
there was another one too where that there had been something in the background, and if we hadn't gone 3 levels deep. So the first guy's not going to tell you. They're just not. That if you go sideways and go around a little bit, you can.
You can also, it's public record. I highly recommend
Well, that's a good part too. To do a
public
search.
record.
Yeah.
Public
I
record.
did not do that. But,
Yeah, that's a very good point. I have to add, I used to be in HR and I used to do a lot of this. And that 3D is so important
Don't
because
skip it.
the first ones are going to be like, oh yeah, because they want to either get rid of them or they're, in a position where they have to get rid of them and they're like, oh, I hope they find another job. And we would find that when we would go deeper, there were a lot of different opinions.
So how did you go deeper? What did you say to them? How did you word it as far as getting?
Just like what you were saying, just is there anyone else in the office or in another location where they worked with them on a project or anything specific? And would you mind sharing that name with me? And they usually do. But yeah, the first line, they're set to do the right thing for the person because they wouldn't have asked them to be a reference. They didn't think that they would do that.
Right.
And there are also questions you can and cannot ask
Yes.
legally. So just,
Right.
research those things so you don't get
Yeah.
into
Honestly,
trouble.
I don't really know. I mean, I know intuitively, you don't ask.
Can't ask if they have
biased
kids. You
questions.
can't
Yeah, I
ask,
never do. And but I just ask them for, as much as they want to share. I said, on where you've been and, I have your resume. You do kind of just walk me through it. A lot of times that kind of just comes up too.
And a lot of people do ask the wrong questions and that person can just say, I was asked, are you pregnant? And it was because the person was a new manager, did not have any idea. And I said, I know why you're asking this question, but I'm not going to have a problem answering it, but I want you to know it's an illegal question. So they never asked it again. But it was because he lost like 3 people from pregnancy, not just the 12 weeks, but for good. And so I understood it, but I still.
I was asked if I had a study. Someone, he was asking if marriage was impending.
Oh,
I know.
that's horrible.
So you know what I did? I lied. I was just like, you're not supposed to ask me that question. I'm not going to give you the answer because you're not supposed to ask it. I was like, no, nobody in my life. I got married 4 months later. But you know what he did? He wouldn't let me go on my honeymoon.
Oh no.
I had to be back in the office on Monday morning. So my husband went on my honeymoon with my brother-in-law from Alaska. And they had a great time. They did. They had a blast. He called me on Monday. Hey, I'm on the blast.
Oh, that is just awful.
It's a true story.
You decided to run your own business and not work.
Right, exactly.
I was the first female auditor at Southern States. They'd all been men up to me.
Ah.
So like, I kind of was like, don't hire yourself. Hire someone better, smarter than you. We kind of talked about that. All right, wages, bonuses. So most of my positions have been kind of entry level positions, and honestly, Ashley's replacement is going to be kind of an entry level. For me, that's about $12 an hour. I have the dough fee that I hired was more like 10, but I told her as soon as the market, Market Center got launched, she'd be up to 12, which I did do, but she did not have any college background. She was kind of fresh out of high school, but she's been amazing. Is it reasonable to pay up to 17? Yes, maybe even up to 20, depending, they're going to leverage your life and they're going to allow you should have a 3-to-1 payback on the dollars that are spent. So it should be able to really take you to the next level, and that is very possible. Bonuses, I'm actually trying to figure this out because I want to do a production bonus based on here I am now. Here's where I was able to get because you were willing to take on these responsibilities or additional responsibilities. As far as like if we have buyer's agents, helping them with buyer's agents and keeping them all, so we can get to level 5 or level 6. So. I don't really know much about productivity bonus structures, but I just hired a MAPS coach, and I requested one that had a 7th level team so that I can start figuring out how you do production bonuses. So, and I think if you do those bonuses, you have to say, this is what I was able to do without an admin, 24 to 36. And because you're here, now I'm at 72. So you kind of do from what they are able to help you with, and you kind of got to work the math backwards. If I find out more on that, I'll be happy to share with you.
Can you tell me the 3-to-1, what you're talking about?
Leverage. So for every dollar I'm spending on the admin, I'm hoping $3 comes back to me as that's a good kind of just rule of thumb.
So on the things that they're touching, you need to get, or
no, I'm kind of just saying in general. So, but what I'm saying is not that my income's going to triple, but what I am spending on that salary of the administrative, that hopefully there's $3 coming back into the company based on that. So it shouldn't be just dollar for dollar. You are leveraging. So just like I work and I make X, then if they work, they make X. There should be an X coming up, and not just, I made just enough now that I've hired an admin that I'm now covering their salary, but I'm really not making any more money. Why would you do that?
Right.
Just stay where you are. It might make life better or easier, and that might be why you do it, but that's really not. The idea is that you're rising to the next level.
nice.
Don't have pain. That is a big one, and that happens all the time, because when you get to that 24, 36, you're in, you're possibly in pain. You've got too many people hollering at you. It's so hard to take your time when you are in pain. This is out of the MREA, cost of a bad hire, 3 to 4 months of interview and hire, 3 to 4 months of train and discover it's not working, 3 to 4 months to quit the position before terminating the relationship. 9 to 12 months, and then you start all over. Opportunity of a great hire, 3 to 4 months interview, 3 to 4 months train and evaluate. They are performing so you get free to focus on priorities, focus on mastery, focus on opportunities, focus on free time. 6 to 8 months, and you come out excited and energized. So, I think we're kind of in that pain period too now with this adjustment. So let's talk about retention. Got that great hire. Ashley, you have been through a lot with us, and thank you for giving us 6 years of your young life.
Aged me a little bit.
It did. So why did you stay that long?
I definitely, obviously, I knew Tina personally before, and that helps. But just I felt respected from. It's very important that your hire feels respected and feels like they're on your level too. Tina's a very humble person, and you are. But honestly, that, and she likes having fun too. Just that little, like, we'll randomly go out to lunch, or we have like days and stuff like that. That really adds to just building your team, and it makes you feel like you're a family at work. So that, and definitely the flexibility. When I had kids, Tina and Teresa allowed me to stay part time, and just if I need to leave at 3, as long as there's nothing huge going on, they're understanding.
Flexibility for moms, especially. I as long as you don't take advantage of it, I just need a text. I'm rolling in at 10. Had 2 dentist appointments. So flexibility has been a big thing for us. And they pretty much know too. If they want off, they can pretty much have off. Like if they tell me this is the date, they're taking off. And don't undervaluate, having a lunch together. We had Zoe's together. We just brought it upstairs, but it still was nice. We do retreats at my house, and when we do the retreat, I usually serve them, homemade soups or homemade salads, and it's just nice. It's just nice. We usually do that when we do our budget. Sometimes when we're setting the next year. So that's been nice. And our lake day is important to all of us. We all plan on it. Once this summer, we're always going to be. I rent the pontoon on the drives. Great margaritas at the Mexican place. It's just our thing, and we all really, really enjoy that day. So, do you have anything else to add to why you stay through the craziness and the bad days?
I'll second Ashley's a sense of family, and feeling like you're all part of something. You all have a shared goal.
I know I heard too, I don't remember who said it, but I think she said that he said it, Tina, whoever you hire, Rachel needs to like.
Mm-hmm.
And that's huge because I met Rachel. I mean, just you need that understanding with one another. And when you have that other person, like when you do get to hire 2 people, or even you as agent and that person, just being able to be that like family together, and like you're going through it together. It's not just they're shouting at you and throwing up on you. It's important.
It is. Yeah, it's stressful to do all. And I do. I'm like, if Rachel said no, and I thought the person was amazing, but yeah, no, sorry. Remember all that like, you can't come. You can't come to the party. How to hire. All right. So, training. Has anyone heard of Monica Reynolds? She is, who is she? You want to talk a little about Monica Reynolds? Who is she? Because there's T-shirts when you go around family reunion, and it says, "I did it because Monica Reynolds said," or something like that. So
Yes. She just basically preaches that she is a huge mega agent, and she's extremely high D on that DISC test. And she does the same thing. She comes in and just dumps all of her thoughts out all at once. But she preaches constantly, your admin is the key to your business. They will make your life so much better. And they, go around and they pick up all the pieces when you do that and organize them. And she has a great class called the Perfect Real Estate Assistant. And I've been through, she has 2 parts. So you can go through the first one, I think it's 6 weeks, and then she has a kind of advanced class if you want to keep going with it. I know that Stephen Acree attended one of her classes at Family Reunion this past year.
Have you done the Montgomery's class? You might want to go back to Stephen and say, you know what, I want to do this class. You've done the full thing. It was $500.
I'll check on the price. That'll be one thing I'm sending out in our email after this.
Where's that? Is it in Virginia?
It's
Okay.
webinars. It's
Oh.
it's phone calls and webinars. They're weekly.
So you're not talking to this.
They are. They're weekly. And I think it's like a 6-week class.
And so it's a webinar. You're on the phone, but there's actual feedback, right? People are talking
Yes,
about.
I think it's a class of. I think I had about 40 in my class.
So
there
if
were
you're
people-
struggling with something, yeah, you need to do it.
Okay.
So is this like
You're
a
fine.
Skype kind of thing, or
It's
phone?
yeah. You navigate to the webinar and then you're on the phone and they mute people and have the teaching part of the class and then they open it up for questions afterwards.
So, family reunion, you've been twice now. And what you caught the second time, what she was saying back to me was not what the first time she was just, a new person and learning the whole Keller Williams thing. The second time we were having whole different conversations and you could really see the growth of just the growth of leadership. So it's fun and we really haven't even finished some of those conversations about possibilities. So it is an investment. Yes, it is an investment, but I think you're going to get every dollar out of it. And to be around all those high-minded people, to have somebody that's helping you be around all that high-mindedness is a great thing. Weekly meetings. We meet every Monday at 11 o'clock. Sometimes it gets pushed to 1, sometimes it gets pushed to Wednesday, but we try for 11 o'clock on Monday. Ashley kind of is the reason we did that. We could tell that she was just frazzled and she never got a piece of us because at that point she was working with Teresa and I, and we were always like ping, 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 and she was getting all kinds, and it was hard for me to get all three of us in the room, but really she needed that uninterrupted time that she could come in and say, what about this listing? What about this? What about that? And I'd be, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you this. So some people do more than that, and some people do what they call stand-up meetings. So they'll do a 1 week uninterrupted, and then they'll do a huddle. So they may, just kind of stand there and talk for a few minutes every morning. Everybody can do your own thing, but making your leader sit down and give you some uninterrupted time where they can transfer knowledge to you and you can ask them questions and you can come with a list of items that need to be taken care of. It's really better than 1,000 texts and 1,000 emails and all that going back, like a concentrated weekly. Know their big why. We talk about that in Keller Williams. What is your big why? I don't know that I really did that well with Ashley or Rachel, but now I think, I understand that you need to know. First thing my coach said, I just went back to Max coaching. First thing we're going to do next week is I'm supposed to send them my big why. And my big why's changed from 5 years ago. So, really diving deep on, what are their personal goals? What are their business goals? What are their health goals? Why are they coming to work every day? So, you should have 30, 60, 90 goals, and it should be written on your calendar. And day 30, you sit down with them, and then day 60 or 90, or both, you sit down with them. And honestly, at 90, you could either say, this is a conditional job. In 90 days, I'll let you know for sure if we're going forward. Put a little pressure on them. I was just talking to Bill Bryant, and his daughter went to work for a really big, like $60 million team in South Carolina. When they hired her, day 30, she was sitting down with the team leader, and day 90 is today's evaluation. And so they're really, really they're putting it on the calendar and they're making it happen. To be sure that if you set an expectation that they are being met, and if they're not, let's address it really fast and early. Don't let it get too far down. Yearly evaluations and goal setting. Again, going back to that big why and seeing if anything's changed. And then checklist, which I had. Did we have any checklists? We probably did some when Rachel came on. We had some.
Yeah, they weren't as pretty.
They weren't as pretty. All right. All right. So I'm going to let Rachel kind of talk about checklists and what she has done for our team.
For me, that's a constantly evolving process. I would say at least once a year, sometimes twice a year, I go back through my checklist. And that started as just developing and adding to the contract to close checklist. And I got an initial one, I think, from Ashley when I started, and I looked at it and I said, okay, this works. Does it work in every situation? No, not really. So I went through and I developed, broke it down further. Instead of just a contract to close checklist, it became, here's a new construction buyer checklist. Here's a new construction dual agent checklist. And so I kind of broke that one down, and then, following that same system in other parts of the job, it became, okay, here's a checklist for what happens every time a buyer's agent comes on the team. Here's what we need to do for that person.
And then actually the buyer's agent one just really came out of failure.
Right.
Right.
So, that's just evolving now.
Now that's evolving now. We're like, well, dang, we didn't do a very good job of that. Let's see if we could do it better next time. There's some fail forward on this. And Rachel gets the credit because I'm not giving her a bunch. Now, there was a fair amount in KW University, but then she's kind of perfected it and made it us.
And I do that by looking to some of these other bigger teams that are all over the U.S. But they put their, even Ben Kenny and some of those huge people that you see at Family Reunion, you'll find their checklists on KW University, and they're sharing what's worked for them. That's another thing I like about Keller Williams.
They are.
It's
just like this box.
Yeah.
We share.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
I know. Yeah. Huge. Oh, this is our fun days. That's my daughter who doesn't drink, who's driving. The margaritas at Horseshoe Marina. Is that it? Crazy Horse. Oh my gosh. They're fresh. They're made with limes. They're Mexican. I think they're Mexicans. They're just the best. So you can take your pontoon boat and park it and then just sit up there. You're just having fun. Yeah. Don't they look relaxed?
Yeah.
They all look cute. And I think that was it. So, questions and ahas. Any questions?
Yes. Go ahead, Skylar.
I heard a big sigh. Didn't know if that was going to come with the question or
I
not.
had one.
So, would you recommend is it okay to start out like part-time
Sure,
with someone?
absolutely. Do they want full-time eventually?
Yeah, I don't know how to hire yet. I did hire once, but I hired someone that was going to work from home, and that lasted like 48 hours. I remember that one.
So, Ashley, close your ears. Ashley's part-time, and if she would stay, I would keep her forever. But if I were starting over again, and I guess in some ways I am, since, I do love full-time. I just think, and I think Ashley's felt that too, because on Tuesday, Thursday, her phone was ring and that. So if you can go big, or if you can save a little money before you go big, and if you can do full-time and you get the right hire full-time, it's going to be awesome. And my strong suggestion is to go full-time.
All right, so how much reserve would you recommend that I have in my bank account to make sure that I'm going to be
So
able
I
to
would
pay that?
tell you to, who's the big Christian money guy?
Dave Ramsey?
Dave Ramsey says 3 months, and Keller Williams mandates that we have 3 months reserve of our operating. So I would tell you to add in whatever you're going to pay them to whatever your monthly expenses are, anyways, whatever marketing and that, and you should have 3 months. For me,
Include their salary plus what I'm going to be spending on marketing.
right, you should
Okay.
always have 3 months. months in reserve, especially in this business, guys. Like in October, here I am, I do 20 million. I had no listings and no sales in the month of October. I had 50 grand in my bank account when the winter started, and I had zero at the end. I was like, holy moly. Now, fortunately, March, the entire board was filled, and a part of it is pipeline, and part of it was that I was doing Roanoke, and I kind of got off my game. I wasn't prospecting. Sorry, even the big guys, you got to prospect. So I think that's if you could have 3 months, I'm not saying you don't go a little ahead of that, but I would try to. Reserve, and I think that's just a good Dave Ramsey thing, which I have not done until I really met Keller Williams, and Keller Williams made me do it professionally, and then I did start doing it personally, and it just really will take a little of that burden off of you too. So stress, knowing that you've got that nest egg.
So doing 3 transactions, or like every dollar you spend, you get 3 back. Is that from just leveraging the tasks that we should not be doing, or how do you recoup that with an admin?
Exactly, just exactly what you said. It allows me to go do what I do, and to really have time to do that and concentrate on it, not be so distracted. It's amazing. I'm always amazed at. I wish I could prospect more. I don't do 2 hours every day. I wish I did. I wish I could tell you I did. I would be doing 60 million a day if I would stick to that model, but I don't. But I do it consistently on certain days. So. That's it. Any other
once you hire somebody, and you said between 12 and 20 an hour, depending on whatever, at what point do you evaluate for raises? What does that look like? And I know you're talking about bonuses, and what other benefits do you offer? I know you don't have insurance and that kind of stuff, but what does your package look like?
So I actually do pay Rachel's insurance.
Okay.
I do pay for her cell phone. It's 2 weeks off a year, and at 5 years it goes up to 3 weeks. I don't know if I told you that. We follow the Keller Williams holiday schedule, and for me, this is just personal. Between Christmas and New Year's, they don't have to take their vacation. We kind of lay low. We're not in the office, but everybody knows if I need you, I might have to call you and ask you to finish a contract or do something. So it's really almost, you don't get the first week until you've been on the job 6 months. That's me personally. I think, and then the money part, it's really going to depend on the person and how quick they learn. And then that's going to be really like up to you as far as what your business is doing,
right?
How good they're learning and how fast. Rachel was willing to get licensed, which of course is a huge, huge help, just for popping and things and that. So there was a bonus on that, like, okay, well, get this done. Same way with my Dofi. I was like, in Roanoke, I'm like, once the market center launches, you get the raise here. And then I said, when we get 100 agents, you get another raise. Mm-hmm. So they're earmarked by the business doing well. Mm-hmm. And you may say that. Once we, as a team, get to 4 transactions a month, this comes in. Yeah. You're incentivized. And I think that's fair,
And are you guys hourly or salaried? How do you do that?
How would you answer that? I guess hourly.
Okay.
But they always get the same paycheck. I mean, we don't, again, that's part of the flexibility of it. But, we don't really
About how many? 40 hours a week?
Yes.
Okay.
Ashley is 3 8 hours a day, 24 hours. So, and if you did do someone part-time, would they be willing to go up to full-time?
Yeah.
So you were ready for that.
Have someone in a build-up position.
Yeah.
Wendy Papasan did it like this. She was a single mom. I mean, she was not a single mom, but she's a mom with 3 kids and very busy life. So she did her first year, and the second year she went in and just did contract to close. So she's paying $250, $300 for per contract just to get that done. Only it didn't really make her more money at that second year. Now this woman now makes $1 million a year in real estate, and it's at 7th level. But it allowed her more free time to spend time with the kids and show up at the baseball games and stuff like that. So it's not only about the money. And it was $300 a contract,
Yeah.
you know? So
I think one of the biggest things I've seen while here at Keller Williams, the biggest mistake that I've seen, people don't do the disc like she said, and you hire someone who's going to end up wanting to be in sales.
Yeah.
They're going to learn all your models, and then they're going to want to part away and sell real estate, and you've lost everything you put in. So I think that's probably where Tina said to do that, the biggest thing.
Mhm.
What good are they if you train them and then they just go?
Right. Right. But you want someone that's going to organize you. You have to hire a high skill.
So I know it's preferred to start off with an administrative assistant. What are the limitations? I mean, do they have to have a licensure to do that, or no?
Yeah.
What
But the
can
reason-
what cannot they do? Let me ask that.
They cannot give information out on the houses. They cannot write a contract. They cannot present a contract. If they're licensed, they can do all of the above. But here's the thing, even though Rachel writes a ton of my contracts, more than I do, by far, I look at every single one of them.
You
So
sign
I'm
off
like,
on it, right?
and what I say to Rachel is, you're never gonna be on the hook for this. This isn't your job, this is my job. It's gonna be my E&O, it's gonna be my lawsuit. I wanna see everything before it goes out. You may write it, and it's my job to catch it if it's not right. And I think that's very, very important that even though they're there and they can do so much for you, and even if they're licensed legally, she can send it out without me seeing it. I don't want her in that position. I want full responsibility because it's not right. It's my job, and my clients are expecting me to do that. So, so if they're not licensed, I mean, they can still.
They can't hold open house if they're not licensed.
They can't.
What are some examples that you have for a non-licensed real estate administrative assistant?
They can put everything in the MLS. They can do any kind of marketing. They can send out things to the database. They can help me.
Runners, just
They
Put
can
signs
run,
up.
They can put signs out.
Take pictures.
bake cookies for the open
They
house.
can talk to a client. They just can't give out information about a property. But they can deal.
They can't tell them the price of the property. or anything
Nope.
like that?
No. But they could say your closing is on this date. You need to be here with the driver's
They can send them an
license.
email of a link.
It's really, but like again, Rachel wasn't, and I paid her to go get her license. She was paid the whole time that she went and did that. I got her on and made sure we were a good fit. We were a good fit, and then but in the interview, I don't know if I did this time, but I know with the new person, we're like, this is something that we want because it's just in you're in compliance and you can't get in trouble. I'm all about don't get in trouble. It's your license,
I have just a question that seems like it would be common sense, but when you are the one that says that you're taking care of that client and you're just getting busier where you can't take care of every single piece. So like when you're saying they can present the contract, they write it, they present it. How do you say that to a client?
So for me, she doesn't present, but once it's all negotiated, she might do kind of the home inspection if it's fairly simple. Hey, here's the 4 items. They say they're good with them. She might do that. We just have a bigger one that we got harder and I took it back and had to give up a little commission to make it all work. So Rachel is not. Could you be in a world where they do all of that? You could, once you get to that 5th and 6th level. So then you have a lead listing specialist, and then you need to make sure that they were really good and competent and really well trained, and then hopefully they shadowed you for months and know how you work, and they say the buyer specialist is not as hard or as important as the listing specialist. Ben Kenny says he will spend a ton of time on that hire, but not near the time on the buyers. He's kind of a believer. You just throw the buyer specialist in, you give them all the training, and whoever takes, great, and whoever doesn't take, just kind of self-weeding. That's his philosophy. There are big teams out there that do that. Any ahas? Anything you didn't know until you spent an hour on the clip notes?
I also have spoken to people that have been in the position where they're the listing agent, they're the lead agent, and they'll go into listing and they'll say, okay, this is what we're going to do. And if there is a chance that I am not able to meet with you regarding your regarding this offer, my assistant so-and-so may present the offer to you or something like that. So, and then she said, I don't ever present offers. I only get listings. So she's already set this up that she's there for the listing appointment and she never sees them again.
Wow.
Okay. So
That's Wendy Papasan?
no, it was somebody else. Anyway, I can't remember Angela. Anyway, she never sees them again. She has absolutely no intention of ever seeing these people ever again.
And she set the expectation right up front.
And she let them know. And she said, there isn't a possibility that I may not be able to, but she's saying in her head, there's not a chance I'm ever going to speak to you again.
That is amazing.
She says there is a possibility I may not be able to.
If I'm not able to meet with you, then I'll make sure that, my assistant is there on the spot and able to present this to you. Now, she has no intention of ever speaking to these people ever again.
So when I go in, I always have my package. I have their faces and a little synopsis, and then I have buyer's agent, who that is, a little synopsis. And the way I present it is, I'm on a team. I spend my life talking to people, going to that 5,000 person database and trying to figure out who's the buyer for the house. That's what you want me to do. Ashley's going to come take your pictures. She's going to do twice the job that I could do, and she's going to make it look amazing. Rachel is behind the computer all day, every day. If you need a quick answer, call Rachel, and she will take you from contract to close. You want me to get this house sold? That's what I'm going to do for you. And these girls are going to take care of all the little stuff and tie it up with a bow for me. And, we're going to, do a great thing. And this is what we do. And then if we talk about the buyer's agents or that, or, I'll just say, I'm not always available all the time. And the system I have in place is I have three people on the bench. Rachel's is, my buyer's agent is, my showing assistant is. Someone's going to show you this house, and you could do that too, Skylar, because you've got, your whole system. There'll never be a time that there's a client that wants to see your house that we can't get it shown besides Thanksgiving and Christmas. Besides that, your house is going to get shown by somebody. I said, I can't think of a time where I've told someone I don't have anybody. And they like that. And I tell them it's a McDonald's world and people don't want to wait on me. That's the way we've evolved. They don't want to work on my schedule. They want me to work on their schedule. And I've built a team around so that I can meet their every need, which is really what you want. And when I explain it that way, that it's all about them, and it's about the new world we're in, and it's really, you don't need me. But they also, I have good people. So they're like, well, Rachel will pick up the phone and she'll actually call me back. And she actually checks her email more than once every other day. So she actually looks through my email too now and starts. I'm like, Tina. Oh. I know. I just called John today. I'm like, I want to go to Grandparents' Day. Dad, just busting at him. I'm like, you got to get on my calendar earlier.
So the first hire is your admin.
Absolutely.
And that person, so I'm just reviewing the notes. The second one is marketing. Then you have a transaction coordinator, then according to MREA. So the first person you hired was Ashley or Rachel?
Ashley,
or neither?
and she was full-time.
Okay.
And she did it all.
She did everything.
She did it.
Okay.
I started with closing, and I did not like it. I did it for about a year and a half. But I did it.
Yeah.
And I didn't complain until they're like, yeah, this other person. I'm like, okay. Well, but like Rachel is so much more geared to closing too than
The contract to close piece, you mean?
but that first person is gonna have to be able to do it.
Do
Okay.
everything.
Yeah.
They're going to do everything. They're gonna put in listings for you.
Yeah.
They're gonna do contract to close. They're gonna do it all.
Yep.
They're all and then when you do hire the second, you kind of find out what they're best at and then hire to the other
Right.
position.
Right.
So to me, it's contract to close and then listing. Those are your first two hires. Do we have anything else, or was that? I think that was it.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
guys.
You're
Very good.
good,
Thank you.
guys. And anybody that